No idea what he was doing yet, but it really is hard to hold an opinion when elected officials come out and say, I regret that we've lost another black man to police officer shooting again, right?
This morning we have yet another incident where another officer shot and killed another black man. This time it's 10 miles, just 10 miles, think about this, from the Derek Chauvin trial. This is, it's pretty interesting. Mainstream, fake stream media loves this kind of stuff. It increases their ratings. It brings clicks. It just seems to me there's a distract, deceive, divide, demoralize, and conquer campaign going on.
And you're a part of it, either knowingly or unknowingly. If unknowingly, please allow me to enlighten you. If knowingly, which I really suspect is the case, then allow me to expose you. So, I hate to do this, but I have to make another video exposing this shill, Brian, over at High Impact Flix. So, over the last couple of weeks, he's been making videos on police use of force again. Brian used to do this back in the day. He's going back to that now because it's low-hanging fruit. It's low-hanging fruit, it's trending, and shills like to do that. They go after the low-hanging fruit and the trending stuff. And by all means, police use of force, when it is unjustified use of force, it does require attention. There are people who do a great job at First Amendment auditing and police auditing, or whatever you want to call that activity. As I've said in previous videos, one of my favorite people who do this is Justin Pulliam, and that's because he actually gets stuff done. He records them to capture their behavior, and he's replaced city council members, and he's even replaced police chiefs. So he knows what he's doing. He's doing it the right way. But people like Brian, what they're doing is he's basically pushing a very similar narrative to what the mainstream media is doing. And to illustrate this perfectly, and for me to stop rambling, I'm going to quickly show a Steven Crowder clip, something that was said on Steven Crowder this morning about this Dante Wright shooting. This was said on Steven Crowder, and then I'm going to compare that to exactly how Brian starts this video of his off. Brian's video on Grease Monkey videos about this shooting, he literally starts this video off in this manner. So here you go. Listen to these two videos, or watch these two videos.
No idea what he was doing yet, but it really is hard to hold an opinion when elected officials come out and say, I regret that we've lost another black man to police officer shooting again, right?
This morning we have yet another incident where another officer shot and killed another black man. This time it's 10 miles, just 10 miles, think about this, from the Derek Chauvin trial.
So here, Brian is pushing literally the exact same narrative, word for word, that mainstream politicians are pushing and that the media pushes. That, oh yes, it's just another one, as if this is a systemic problem that is happening all of the time, as if there are just unarmed black people getting shot by police every day. The fact is what Brian is doing here is he's pushing a false narrative, and he does it throughout the video I'm going to show. But before I do that, I want to give some background. Brian actually recently did a video, like maybe 2 weeks ago. It was like one of the first videos that began his journey back doing videos like this. Like his first, most recent police use of force video was a police use of force video about police who had to shoot a 79-year-old man. Now, the video is a really tragic video. You can clearly tell that these officers did not want to shoot this man. They pleaded with him for a long time. He did have a gun. And Brian, while watching the video, he made up excuses. One was like, oh, he could have been having an Alzheimer's moment, even though he clearly wasn't. He was clearly not sunsetting. He was clearly out of his right mind. It's not that he was like totally out of his mind. No, he was fully cognitive and he was just out of his mind. He was just acting like a fucking lunatic. He did have a gun in his car. Several officers saw the gun. Like, it was just a really, really, really stupid video, a really tragic video, and the entire time, Brian was just criticizing these guys as if they weren't desperately trying not to shoot him. Okay, and then it's hilarious. The reason why I especially bring this up is that I wanted it to include that video, or at least segments from that video, in this video to show just how irresponsible and what kind of false narratives Brian is pushing now. Just ultimate shilling. You know, he's just trying to gaslight people, and he's trying to make people, I mean, he's an anarchist. So he wants to spread chaos. He just spreads his own form of chaos. And it's funny too, because he tries to pretend he has like the moral high ground. I'm going to do a whole video on his recent Flat Earth video, and just to show how he doesn't make an actual argument for or against anything. He just likes to sit on the fence and basically rile people up, trigger them, gaslight them with false narratives, incredibly false narratives. So anyway, so Brian had this video, right? I was looking for this video, the video of him talking about this 79-year-old guy who was shot. And I noticed, I'm like, oh wow, it's gone on Odyssey, it's gone on YouTube. I can't find it on either of those. I checked BitChute, but BitChute, really, Brian doesn't upload there because he can't make money there. It's hilarious because if you go to his BitChute, his videos on YouTube about YouTube censorship will automatically upload there, these videos of him pushing Odyssey. And then people over there are like, why don't you upload here? It's censor free here too. And it's very simple. It's because he can't get money there. Brian is all about marketing. He is a marketing genius. I got to give him that. But he's all about marketing. And honestly, I feel Bill Hicks's joke about people in marketing definitely apply to Brian. But anyway, so I was looking for this video of his and I couldn't find it. But fortunately for me, one of my subscribers actually left a link for the video in my first video criticizing Brian. As you can see here, he says, by the way, Brian's up to his old tricks again, because once again, Brian used to do this. So I was like, okay, you know what? Let me go to that comment and click on that link. And here's what happened. Here's the comment. Here it is. I'll highlight it for you. When you click on the link, though, click, video unavailable. Video was removed by the uploader. It's not that YouTube deleted the video on him. He straight up removed this video, and he's basically doing in that video the exact same thing he's doing in this video, but worse. It was way worse. And the even more tragic thing is, he of course had those silly commercials of his inside the video. So it's like he had these really inappropriate advertisements. He had like those advertisements where he does like the characters. And it's like, damn man, you have no shame. You are literally just trying to sell stuff. You're selling stuff on the death of this guy that you're making a big deal out of. You're on your moral high horse saying that these officers murdered this man even though they clearly didn't. Making it as if the officers could have not have shot him. Making this big deal, and then you're selling your garbage products in this super inappropriate manner. It was shameful. And that's probably why Brian deleted it. But he's a marketing wizard. He'll just keep on with his same old ways and just basically pretending like nothing ever happened. But you know what? That's enough of that. Let's see how he covers this story.
This morning, we have yet another incident where another officer shot and killed another black man. This time, it's 10 miles, just 10 miles, think about this, from the Derek Chauvin trial. It's almost like a 20-year-old black man, says the New York Slimes, died after a police officer shot him.
It's funny how he's calling the New York Times the New York Slimes here, which, is appropriate for the New York Times. They're definitely very slimy. But he lacks the self-actualization to realize, or at least the self-awareness or self-understanding, that he's doing exactly what they're doing. It's unbelievable. Incredibly narcissistic.
And died. Brooklyn Center Police Department officers initiated a stop for a traffic violation in the area of the 6300 block of Orchard Avenue in Brooklyn Center shortly before 2 p.m. on Sunday. Officers determined that the driver of the vehicle had an outstanding warrant.
Notice how Brian here emphasizes the traffic violation a lot more than he emphasizes the warrant. It seems completely irrelevant, maybe even frivolous at this point, but it's going to be important later on in his video.
At one point, as officers were attempting to take the driver into custody, the driver re-entered the vehicle. And that's when we thought we could just open fire on him.
Wow, just incredible. Pushing a narrative that has no supporting evidence at all. I'm sorry, what do you call this? He's pushing an identical narrative as the narrative that the Mockingbird media is pushing. What do you call that?
One officer discharged their firearm, striking the driver. The vehicle traveled several blocks before striking another vehicle. Officers in pursuit and responding medical personnel attempted life-saving measures.
Yeah, Brian makes no comments about the fact that Dante Wright, after being shot, fled in his car and then crashed. I don't know what kind of person does that. I don't know what kind of person, first of all, thinks that they're going to get away from the police when they run. You're dealing with people that have a sophisticated communication system. There's a whole gang of them out there. Like, who are you trying to run from? I mean, you're on video. Like, running in itself is stupid. But then who, after getting shot, is going to run away from the people who would be the quickest to provide them medical aid? It's like, oh, look, I just got shot. I definitely need medical aid, but I'm going to flee. I mean, it doesn't make you look like an innocent person or a very intelligent person or a person that I would sympathize for. It reminds me of the Dave Chappelle skit where he said, you know, how not to get your ass kicked by the police. And then he just says these very obvious things. Hey, you just don't do these things and you won't get your ass kicked. Same thing with getting shot by the police. And I know Brian will argue that he'll use this guy who was shot when he was trying to show the police that he had like an open carry, that he had a concealed carry permit or whatever. I disagree with Brian on that video. I've seen the video. The guy should not have reached like that. It was really stupid. The officer even tells him while he's reaching, "Don't reach," and he's like, "No, I'm gonna go ahead and grab it." So I mean, Brian will though push this false narrative, and he has pushed this false narrative. I've seen him push the false narrative of that story, and watch how he's going to allow the false narrative of this story get pushed. I mean, I've already shown that he's pushing a false narrative in this story, with this story alone. Okay, now watch how he continues to allow others to also push the false narrative. He's now going to show the mother talking, and when the mother of Dante Wright is talking, she clearly is saying stuff that does not match the police story, and she's saying stuff that doesn't even make any sense. Watch and see.
Amazing. It's amazing. Well, I opted. He got back into his car. I had to shoot him. Was he shooting at you? Was he threatening your life? Was he jeopardizing you in any way? Here's the mother of Dante Wright speaking out.
Weeks ago.
All he did was have air fresheners in the car and they told him to get out of the car. He got out of the car and his girlfriend said they shot him. He got back in the car and he drove away and crashed.
And Brian makes no attempt to correct that story or try to shed any light on how ridiculous it sounds. How really, they pulled him over for air fresheners and they demanded him to get out just because he had some air fresheners. No, it had nothing to do with that warrant, right? No, it had nothing to do with that. And then when he gets out of the car, they just shoot him for no reason. So, you know, him getting into the car and fleeing makes sense. You know, it's like that movie Get Out. He was fleeing these racist white people that wanted to kill him. So him getting into his car and running away when he was already shot makes perfect sense, right? These people were trying to kill him in cold blood. That's literally the narrative that these people are pushing. And Brian's just like, yep, I'll just let them spread that falsehood. I'm not going to make any attempt to critique it in any way whatsoever. Alright, I'm actually just going to finish the video out. It's already a pretty long video. I'm going to just finish it out by letting the body cam footage play. You guys can see the body cam footage for yourself. What I'm going to do is, though, I'm going to freeze it on when she actually shoots the guy. I'm going to kind of like censor that out. So that part will be censored out. I know, Mr. Uncensored, censoring a video. How dare you? How dare you, you damn hypocrite. Anyway, I'll see you fellow slaves in the next video.
Oh, wow. Yes!